What's up, everyone? Thank y'all for joining me with Buzzing with Merlo. How y'all doing? I hope everyone's doing well. I have got another awesome guest with me today. Today, I got MJ Book. How you doing, man?
Hey, it is great to be on here. It's the brotherhood and sisterhood of podcasts. It's just good to for us
Absolutely.
all to come together and get our podcast out there for the world.
Absolutely. Um, let's start off right off the rip, man. Like, how long have you been in doing podcasts?
Uh, I am right now in my second season. I've only had
Okay.
61 episodes, not a lot, but that's
Mm-hmm.
61 more than I thought I would do. So I'm a so basically I started in 2000. So I'm still really new into it. Got into it because of a friend who was
Mm-hmm.
doing a podcast, and then I decided to do my own with a partner. I originally had somebody, but he couldn't do it anymore. And
Right.
I had already bought stuff, so it became, what do I do? So I decided I'm going to keep going, and then I created
Mm-hmm.
my own podcast, and somehow I'm still going.
Oh man, that's awesome. All right, let's go right off the rip, man. You tell everyone about yourself. Go ahead.
My name is MJ Book. My podcast is the Countdown Podcast. It's counting down just pretty much any kind of a topic you can think of, such as I've counted down my favorite DC movies, worst DC movies, favorite cartoons, favorite wrestling stables, favorite WrestleMania main events.
Okay.
Just recently did my favorite James Bond movies. Anything you can count down, I try to put a countdown for it. It seems easy, but trust me, it is not that easy. Plus, I
Do you like
also work on
pre-write
my
anything?
cousins. Hmm?
Do you pre-write anything for your podcast, or you just go off the rip?
I just go. I mean,
Hey,
the only
I
thing that's in
love it
front of
that
me,
way, man. I like
yeah,
literally. I don't see it as any other way. Like I could get it, like if you're like really with like a big time celebrity or something, but I just don't like the pre-write and stuff because I think it like how I did in my matches, man. Like if you already overdo it so many times, when it actually happens and you miss that spot, you ain't got nothing to fall on. Like you're literally just brain dead because like okay,
exactly.
we're screwed.
Yeah,
That's how I feel with podcasts, man.
yeah, exactly. The only thing I have in front of me when I'm recording is, of course, I have to have my list. Maybe I have some extra information. If it's a movie, I might have
Uh-huh.
something from, like Internet Movie Database or something.
Hmm.
Just something to kind of help me out with little extra information, but I never know what I'm going to say. I just, I just go.
Those are the best. Those are the best.
They can
so
be.
you, so you do them all by yourself usually? Do you have like
Yeah.
guests on or anything?
I have no co-host, so it is just me. I do
Hmm.
sometimes have guests who have come on, which I might as well do this openly. Open welcome for you to come on to the countdown. I'm sure we
Most
can
definitely.
come up with a list to count something down. But
Oh, absolutely.
it's sometimes I have guests, but most of the time it's just me, and you can understand it. It's difficult to do a podcast when it's just you.
Yes. Yes. I've only done 4 episodes total by myself.
Oh, only
So
four?
I've always had a guest with me because man, it just felt so weird. When I tell you like I my first episode, I literally just woke up one morning and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hit record and let's see what happens. Like I didn't think I was gonna really have a podcast to really even think of and go more than 3 episodes at the most. So I literally hit record, talked about myself the whole thing. I'm thinking I'm not gonna go no more than 30 minutes. I went an hour. My first episode, and it was just crazy. Like when I hit published on that, I didn't edit nothing or anything. This is how
Yeah.
newbie you were right there, and it was on
Yeah.
Anchor. So literally, it's just like okay, you just had the easiest thing to do. About almost a
Yeah.
hundred hit, 100 plays right on the first day. And I was sitting there, I'm like, people really wanted to listen to all of that. Like, I
I do
just
the
talked
same
about who
thing.
I was. Like, that was interesting. Like, what the heck? So, I mean, And the rest is history. And I was just like, either I was proud of myself for going an hour, or I'm like, there's something wrong with me for talking to myself for a full hour by
I did
myself.
the
So
exact same thing. I didn't edit. I just was recording. I posted it.
I did it
The
for 4 episodes.
I think the first 5 or 7, I didn't edit a thing. Then I started editing, which I absolutely hate editing. It's the worst, but it's gotten easier, but I still hate it. And now that I post on YouTube,
Yeah,
it's now video editing, which is even worse. So
absolutely.
it's tough.
It's a pain.
But
it's a pain.
Wouldn't keep doing it if there wasn't some level of fun in it.
Absolutely. So what gave you the idea to want to do the podcast that you do so far? So like how you like do a countdown, the list and stuff like that. What inspired you to do that?
Well, the original show was going to be called Sit Down, in which it was going to be me and somebody just talking about random topics, just anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, once he couldn't do it anymore, which I'm not mad at, everything is cool about that. Obviously, couldn't do that anymore because it's just me. So I was like, what's some things that I'm passionate about that I could talk about and give me episode ideas? And
exactly,
I love watching countdown stuff, like on YouTube, the Watch Mojo stuff. I love watching that stuff. So I was like, why don't I just do a countdown? And at first I was like, this should be pretty painless and easy, but it's not. It's depending on the topic, such as, it's October, so I'll just use this as an example. I did an episode of my favorite horror movies last year, and I'll probably do something horror related this year. I have no idea yet. But what I do is I write down every single horror movie that I like that I can think of. And that can get up to 70, 50, 60, 100, just until I can't think of anymore. Then I go online and investigate to make sure I didn't forget any, because that's always going to happen. You forget one or two. And once I'm confident I have all of them, that's when you start weeding them down, eliminating. And I try to get to 10. I don't always succeed. But once I get to an acceptable number, then ordering it, which can be another challenge. And once it's ordered, I'm set and ready to go. But counting down stuff, it's not. Some topics are easier than others.
What's been your favorite topic so far?
Oh, well, love wrestling. So any of the wrestling ones that I've done, those have been fun. I did a special episode when Sean Connery passed away, because I'm a James Bond nut, and Sean Connery is my favorite, and we actually share the same birthday. So the day he died, I did a tribute to Sean. That was it's rough calling it a favorite, but it's a one I'm very fond of. Comic book ones, those have all been fun. Recently, I just did the worst movies ever. That was fun, but in a bad way, because I watched all these movies. I watched like 20 really bad movies. I go all out for my listeners and viewers.
Give me a few of them.
Jaws, The Revenge was on there. Batman and Robin was in there.
The one with Freeze, Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one. I mean, just
the George Clooney Batman.
Yes, that one. Just torture. Just absolute ever-loving torture. And there's some honorable mentions, of course. Sometimes I have honorable mentions in there, like these didn't make the final list, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. I despise it and hated it. The Punisher, Dolph Lundgren Punisher. Yeah, that was torture. I mean, rewatching all these movies, it seemed like a good idea, but then I did it.
Ooh, hey, way to be committed to it, man. That's got to be tough.
It's tough. In fact, there was a James Bond movie on the list, Moonraker. Moonraker
really?
was on the list. I hate
Yeah,
Moonraker.
I didn't really like that one either.
I mean,
Yeah.
you on camera, you can see who's behind me. It's Sean Connery up
Mm-hmm.
there. So I'm a Bond nut. I'll be seeing No Time to Die tomorrow.
Yeah, that looks really good. I, I'm just curious, like, how many more can they make?
Well,
Like,
he's
holy
done.
moly. Yeah,
He's done.
I
This
think
is
this
it
is
for
it.
him. He's done.
Okay,
He's already announced he's not going to do anymore. So this is his swan song. But
right.
there's a lot of rumors going on about this movie. I hope they're not true.
Really?
There's some
Oh
rumors
man.
that they might kill James Bond. I hope they don't do it.
Eh, not for as long as they've been doing it. So, all right, you were mentioning something about Halloween movies. I mean, scary movies and stuff like that. How do you
Mhm.
feel about the new Halloween coming out?
Oh, I can't wait. I can't
All
wait.
I want, my biggest waiting moment is they better have the most tragic death for him. Like, as many people as he's killed all through the decades. That death better be the
Yeah.
most traumatizing death on the planet. If it's just a simple stab, I'm walking out of the theater. I'm saying
Yeah,
it's
you can't do
terrible.
that.
I'm
Yeah.
literally saying like that's it. No, I'm not doing it. That man snap people's necks and stuff. Absolutely no. If that happens, I'm going. I'm leaving.
Halloween. I love the Halloween series. In
Uh-huh.
fact, 3 Halloween movies was on my favorite horror movies list. The first 2, the original first 2,
Mm-hmm.
and the most recent one, not Halloween Kills, but the most recent Halloween was on
Mm-hmm.
there. And Halloween has been through some crap. I was going to say something
Yeah.
else, but I edited myself. Uh,
You're
I
referring
mean,
to the Rob
Halloween
Zombie
3
era.
Season of the Witch was terrible. And
Mm-hmm.
what Rob Zombie did is just a crime. It was a crime. I couldn't even listen to Rob Zombie music because of what he did.
Really?
He
Oh
pissed
wow.
me off.
Yeah. It was bad. It, there's sometimes you just need to stop remaking movies. And I really thought that was the time to cut it off. And then they did the recent ones, and I was like, okay, now I'm back into it. I like this. With
Well,
Jamie
they're
Lee
Halloween
Curtis
fans.
back and all them.
They're
Like
Halloween
literally the
fans, so they
originals.
respect it. They respect it. As long as you
Yeah.
respect it, I'm cool with it.
hmm I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I'm looking to see how they're gonna kill him. Like the man was in a house, locked in and everything. I'm like, oh, this is it. Nope, not happening.
Well, in the end, he's just going to come back no matter what they do to him.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going
it's
to
like
make
a
a lot of
Freddy
money,
Krueger.
so they got to bring him
Exactly.
back.
They're gonna be like, hey, regardless if they stayed through the film the whole time, we made money. That's all we need to know. That's one thing about I tell people about movies. If you want to say what you want on them, don't do a reaction. If you don't give them a reaction, that's where they worry drastically and be like, all right, we ain't remaking this no more. That's done. Absolutely
Bingo.
gone.
Bingo.
No more.
Bingo.
That's what you do for wrestling. But people haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah, I know. I got
All right,
my
man.
wrestling hat on.
Let's talk some wrestling. I know you actually just you were at All Out, right?
Yes, I was there.
What was the
And
experience?
oh my goodness. I've been a wrestling fan. Is it okay to ask how old you are?
I'm 30.
30? Okay. It kind of gets me idea of generational wise what kind of a wrestling fan you might be. So you would
Well, I
kind of
watched
be
a lot of them, buddy. When I did
know.
it, when I did wrestling, I watched the Brad Horner and Tim Armstrong guys. Like those were the
Oh
guys like
boy.
I watched. Like Tim Horner and Brad Armstrong like were the main guys I watched when I learned how to actually wrestle. So
Kind of helps me gauge what levels you're at wrestling.
oh yeah.
Okay, because I'm 43. Gosh, I'm getting so old I forgot my own age. I've been to so many wrestling shows. Whether it be old school WWF, WWE, NWA, WCW. I went to an original ECW show.
Oh, okay.
This all out show was one of the best shows I've ever been to in my life.
Really?
The energy in that crowd was just undescribable.
Mm-hmm.
The place was popping. Everybody was excited, just waiting to get into the building. And this was the first AEW show I'd gone to, obviously, because of the pandemic. There's not a lot of opportunities to go to shows. But oh man, what a show. I brought my belt. I brought a couple of belts with me.
Okay.
Yeah, I have like 16 belts. I have a lot.
Do you have any AEW belts, or you just have all WWE belts?
I have AEW belts. I have the AEW World title, and I have the AEW tag titles, and I want to get the TNT title. I just haven't done it yet. But I've got so many belts. I'm looking at them right now. They're right over there.
Okay. Yeah,
I'll send you a picture.
I've got the little mini, the United States ones, kind of like a watch. I thought that was really the coolest one. So I got that at WrestleMania 33. So that's one thing I thought was really cool. I didn't like holding the really big belts. I mean, those things. I mean, what are you gonna do with them? Like really, like my title that I had. Yeah, I would like to have that, carry that everywhere I want to go. But WWE title, and like I'm just like, what am I gonna do with this thing? Like I've got the. I've got the WWE title, the actual WWE Undisputed title, the one The Rock first debuted back at WrestleMania 20. Yeah. So I have that one.
I don't have that one yet.
I have that one. I mean, like I said, like it's just in a box. I don't mess with it. Don't play with it. Like tell my kids, stay the heck away from it. The little hand ones. That's a real one as well, but it's just a real small one. I thought those were way cooler to have. Was the little small one, and it's actually signed by Kevin Owens. So that was pretty cool on that. Yeah, we ran into him at Walgreens, so he finally signed it there. Like that was really cool experience. Like I've never went to a WrestleMania, and I got to go to the WrestleMania 33. That was my first one to go, and man, that was just wow. Wow.
WrestleMania is a special event to try to get to.
Absolutely.
Me and my cousin are planning to go down to Dallas to watch this coming WrestleMania.
If the main event is what the rumor is, I'll be in Dallas.
I want to go. Undertaker is my second favorite wrestler of all time. And if they're going to induct him into the Hall of Fame, that's the one. He's a Texan. He doesn't have to travel far. So if they were going to do it, this is where they would do it. That's the main reason I want to go.
I was bitter because I went to WrestleMania 33 and we stayed in that building for an extra hour waiting for Taker to get out of the ring. And regardless, the match sucked. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and joke off. The match sucked, but it was based off of just blown up. Like they went a long time, and poor Taker, man. I had a more major respect for Roman going into that match because how well Roman did with Taker in that match. I mean, for him not to look like he really botched the spear to protect Undertaker was a big respect and perspective. Because a lot of people have been like, all right, we're just gonna spear you in the back because we don't want to make it look too stupid. like literally, they wouldn't even worry about all that. But I was in there and I saw Taker take his gloves off, kiss his wife, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, that's it. Taker's retiring. That's it. He's done. And then when we saw the announcement for him and John Cena at WrestleMania 34, I was excited. Then I'm like, man, if they bring him back as the female, that just really eliminated everything we just witnessed in that reign at WrestleMania 33. Literally.
I've been to one WrestleMania. Farewell.
One? Which one?
Yeah, I went to number wise, I always get these confused. I went to WrestleMania where Shawn Michaels and Taker were the main event. The second match in Phoenix. It's like 27 or 9. It's somewhere in the 20s. There's been too many, and I'm getting too old. But that's the WrestleMania I went to. It was my first one, and
they lit it up.
I was honored I got to see that match. And
Really?
I remember because I figured Cena, who I despise, but I
We gonna
figured
talk
Cena
about that
and
one.
I figured Cena and Batista would be the main event, and I thought that match would be a snore fest, and it was. But thankfully, they made it Taker and Shawn, and
Mhm.
everybody in the crowd, all the whole time, all I was hearing, if Shawn wins, I'm leaving. Everybody was saying it. Nobody, even when that place was
Really?
cheering, they like Shawn, but nobody wanted him winning. They like
See,
him,
I was
but
the whole opposite. I thought literally him going in there for the second time, just the story that they told, I was like, yeah, Sean's got to be the guy. It was
he,
either Sean or honestly, it would have been CM Punk. All right, it was either
CM
Sean
Punk
or
should have
CM
done it.
Punk should have had it.
It should have
That's
been CM
who
Punk.
two I thought should have had it.
Brock didn't
But
need it. Brock did not need it. He was already a made man. Heck, that would have
yeah, I
done
agree with you.
Roman better good.
And see, and that's another thing. That was another thing that pissed me off about WrestleMania 33. You knew Roman was winning, and it was a main event, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, so what's gonna be the next calling for all this? Like, and I'm sitting there thinking as a visual standpoint, I was like, all right, if Taker beat Roman, what's next for Roman? If Roman beats Taker, what's there for Taker? Like, I mean, for Roman, like Taker's already been beaten before, so it's not like it's not even that prestige
It didn't mean
perspective like
anything.
it used to be. Like it hurt because honestly, I thought if Roman would have had his first one, would have been the first one to win that one. I think the building would have popped off, but it didn't go that way. I
I'm not sure the
mean,
building would have popped. I think he still would have gotten the same reaction he ended up getting the next night
eh.
when he was getting cussed out and he
Oh
just
yeah,
stood in the ring for 10 minutes,
yeah.
not saying a word. And you
He
heard
had
all
his
the
John
words.
Cena moment. He had
Oh, he
literally
went
his John
beyond
Cena
Cena.
moment.
He went
That John was
beyond
so
Cena.
funny.
You mean the ECW moment when Cena was
Yeah,
facing RVD? Yeah, that was a bad one for Cena. But I've heard Cena. He said he loved it.
it's the reaction. That's how we always learn stuff, man. If you get a reaction, regardless if it's good or bad, they know who you are.
It's
They
better than silent.
obviously pay attention to you. If you go in there and nobody says anything, I'm not even going into the ring. I'm not even going into the ring. Like if you
Sheamus
hear
got that
nothing,
reaction. My
like
WrestleMania I went to,
absolutely not.
yeah, when my WrestleMania when Sheamus walked to the ring, silence, nothing,
Really,
just nothing. I felt bad for him. I'm like, oh come on, y'all. Sheamus ain't that
he's a hell
bad.
of a hand too. Hell of a talent.
I like
Hell of a
Sheamus. I'm like, he
talent.
doesn't deserve to get no thing, no noise.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you on that. All right, so let's talk this.
Mhm.
I'm very curious about how you are. Are you pro AEW or pro WWE, or are you in between?
I when it comes to wrestling viewership, I kind of feel there's two different types of wrestling kind of fans.
Exactly.
You're either just a loyalist where you're only going to watch one product and you're just blind to everything else, or you're
Mm-hmm.
just a wrestling fan in which
Mm-hmm.
you'll watch anything. I'm
Mm-hmm.
more of a wrestling fan. I will watch anything. But
Have you
the
always been that
products,
way?
yeah, I've always been that way. I mean,
Okay.
there's some products I will watch a little more than others, but at one point I remember I was watching all at one time NWA, WWF, AWA,
Yeah.
and ECW. I think was had just started, except then it was called Eastern Championship Wrestling. So as long as the product is good, I will watch it, and that's the problem with WWE. The product is garbage. It's just garbage. Not all of it, but man, SummerSlam was a disaster, and Extreme Rules was not much better. So AEW is doing it better, but their last episode of Rampage was horrible. So it was terrible. That main event on Rampage, ugh.
Shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. Absolutely
it
not.
Lance Archer is just he's just terrible. I don't I tried to like him because I love Jake
I've met
Roberts.
Lance Archer. I've met Lance in person and stuff, and like he's a really genuine dude, and a hard ass worker. I remember when AEW was first giving him his spotlight to get in there, they were building him up so well, and I had actually four of my real good friends that actually got to be extras in that vignette that where they went with Jake the Snake over to that swamp look thing, and they were out this outdoor ring and he was throwing all these guys out.
Throwing up people.
I had four of my friends that actually were in there with him doing that.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so I mean, I really was hoping that they would have done something with Lance because Lance was really good on the indies. Like very well listened, very well trained. I mean, he always had a good reaction with crowds, regardless if he was a heel or a babyface. He knew psychology of wrestling. So I thought he would actually have been more progressed. In my opinion, with AEW right now, and I'm not I hate AEW. Like I have friends that have been on AEW Dark, numerous ones, and finally seeing some of them actually get more of the stepping stone in AEW. But my opinion on AEW is keep it for the independent family. Keep it independent family. Like what I mean by that is don't book all these big time guys. This is the time for our young independent guys to build their future up, get them to what they need to be. Like, yes, I get you got Darby Allen, Sammy Guevara is finally getting something out of it. All of that vignettes that he's been in, MJF. These guys have all been growing up from AEW. I'm very happy about that. But where's all the other guys? Like Shawn Spears. I thought he would actually have been a really big marquee guy in AEW. He's literally doing the same shit he did in WWE. Like, I was really upset with it because I knew he could do so much more. I knew what he could do. And I was upset when he was the perfect 10 character. Honestly, I thought he had one of the best gimmicks going out there because just how related he was doing the 10-10, and you got the whole crowd going nuts. Like you can't coach that in ways. Like it was just like so many things like that just happened like with Rusev or Miro now. I think he's gotten a little bit more, but he's literally getting the same push he did in WWE. That's my opinion.
I think Miro's push. I think Miro is better in AEW.
Well, he started taking acting classes too, so
yeah, I think he's doing a lot better. And the thing is, in WWE, the Rusev Day thing took off, and that was obviously just they had no idea that was going to take off like that. That just blew up, and crowds would be chanting that hours before they would even get in to the arena. They'd be chanting Rusev Day. They'd be chanting it all through the day. They'd be chanting it all through people's matches. That took off to such levels they didn't expect it. And then they killed it. And once they killed it, they killed him. And then they put him in that horrible Bobby Lashley storyline. And
that was his plan. That was his idea. That was his and Lana's idea.
Well,
like they were really. I've heard all the backstory on that one. That was their idea.
It was brutal.
Bobby didn't want it. Bobby did not want it.
I'm sure he didn't. He looked uncomfortable. But Bobby normally looks uncomfortable. But you could tell him when he's in doing something he don't want to do, he looks even more uncomfortable. And it was obvious he wanted no part of that nonsense.
No, the matches were good, but just the story. In my opinion, man, if you're gonna do a storyline like that, man, make it believable on social media. Like, make it to where Lana is not married to Rusev. Like, literally, he was just engaged to her. Literally, they're about to get married when you were making this storyline. Like, everybody already knows the truth on this. That's like saying, all right, let's go watch Black Widow, knowing that we've already watched Endgame. We already know she's dead. So, like, why did you make a movie for her personally, knowing that she already died? If you could, they could have done that in such a better way. Like, I get it. She needed her own movie, but man, that was the wrong timing to do it. Period.
It
That
was.
was the absolute worst timing to do it.
Well, she still got paid,
Oh, she got paid and a lawsuit
and
out of
she
it, so
wanted
why not?
more, and she sued and wanted more.
She beat Disney.
Well, that's better than what her movie did. I saw that turd. It was horrible.
Yeah, it wasn't that great. But like I said, like you already had a prediction of the outcome. Like the only thing it really told us a story about is obviously her sister and what her involvement's going to be in the future of the Marvel films and stuff. But other than
Yeah.
that, like that was it. But back on the wrestling talk,
Mhm.
I want to know who's your favorite AEW guy?
I love Kenny Omega.
You gotta
I'm a Kenny
explain it.
Omega guy. I'm a Kenny Omega
Explain.
guy.
I got you. I gotta have you explain.
Why? Why am I Kenny Omega guy?
I just want to know, like, this will be how I can tell, like, okay, he gets it, or it's just okay.
I
We'll have a discuss on this.
the thing with Kenny is, and I do another wrestling radio show or another show called Third Generation Wrestling. The thing is with them, they don't watch New Japan a lot.
Right.
They're not familiar with New Japan. I'm not saying I watch everything that New Japan throws out there, but I've watched a lot more New Japan than they have. So I've seen Kenny over there. I've seen Kenny throughout Japan, and my God, what a superstar talent. They don't see Kenny the way I do because they just see the AEW Kenny, which I think is still great, but they don't know what that guy can do. And he is truly one of the greatest I've ever seen. And that was one of the things I took from going to All Out was I got to say I saw him with my own eyes. That, to me, I said there, this was an honor to watch that man wrestle. It was an honor. There's not a lot of people I will say that to, but it was an honor to watch that man wrestle. So for me, it's Kenny Omega. I'm a huge Young Bucks guy. I love CM Punk. Yeah. I'm going to ask you a question about that. I heard that All Out show. Yeah, I heard that. Trust me, I'm going to have a question about that because, yeah, we disagreed on a few things.
I'm ready for him because I have all ammo for that one because it, as a wrestling perspective, like, man, you don't know how many times in the indies, like, people want to body you up so much. So say like I'm 180 pounds, I'm not 6 foot or something more like that. So they're literally looking at me as, oh, you're a small guy, but I look better than most of these guys that I'm next to that are sitting here saying, hey, I'm stronger than you. I'm looking at them like you don't even look like you've been in the gym or something like that. Now, when it comes to the Young
I don't
Bucks,
look like I've been in the gym.
No. What I'm saying is like some of these guys will do like little flexing and stuff like that. Don't
I was
even
just
have
making a joke.
Oh yeah, no. But you'd be amazed at how many guys do it. So my thing about the Young Bucks, one, they're not that big. Two, why do every spot in the very beginning of your match and it not mean anything? That's my problem with them. And that match that they did with the Lucha Bros, I was looking forward to it. I was really looking forward to it because I'm a fan of the Lucha Bros. Like, I've seen these guys in AAA, all of them. Like, when I first started wrestling, I learned that there was so much more of wrestling. Like, when I was younger, all I watched was WWE. I'm not going to sit here and lie to anybody. So, when I signed on and actually became an independent wrestler after I went my time in training school and stuff like that, they fed this stuff into me like, man, read this. And it was Wrestling Illustrated. And they were like, look at these guys, but you tell me if you ever heard of them in WWE. And I was like, no. They're like, okay, so you can watch this in New Japan. You can watch this one in London. You can watch this one in New England. You can learn shoot wrestling in that era. You learn the Japanese style of that era. You learn lucha, just luchador style itself over there. So I was just like, whoa. Like, it was just like me in a candy store. I'm like, there's more than one flavor of Snickers now? Let's go. I'm good. Let's go. Like, and I watched some of Kenny's matches, but my problem with Kenny was he done everything in a match, but the finish would not be as great as what he would do all through the other parts of that match. That was my problem with the Young Bucks. And my problem is you don't jump off no cage on your own partner. That was my thing. Like, if you're going to do that, and if that's the case, you just wrestled, I say they went about a good 20 minutes in that ring. You're not going to land on your partner and him just pop back up after all those moves that you just took. You're just going to pop up like it's nothing. And then take that little lame finisher that they did at the end. I didn't like it. That was my thing. And the super kick circle, I absolutely hated that. I'm old school. If you're going to hit me with a super kick, I'm either at the rope or I'm out of the ring if I'm kicking out. I'm
yeah, you said that. Yeah.
That's my thing, man. That's what makes wrestling stale, in my opinion. Like, it's making moves not matter anymore. Like, think of this. Jake the Snake Roberts. If that man hit you with a DDT, I dare someone try to kick out of that. You would get your ass whooped.
Yeah. Here's the thing with that match. Being there, that match, as far as the emotional feel of it, it was right there next to Taker and Shawn. I have never felt that level of energy. The place was popping. Mm-hmm. Everybody was waiting for that match. That match had so much to live up to. And when you have a match like that, it's so easy to fail. Mm-hmm. Not only did they not fail, they surpassed my expectations. I will remember that match forever. It was just such a great match. And I'm a Young Buck guy. I've been watching the Young Bucks for a while. There was no AEW. When people say things like, "Oh, it'd be a great dream match to watch the Young Bucks versus the Hardys," I say, "It already happened." Mm-hmm. They're like, "No, it didn't."
Oh yeah, it did. Orlando, actually, yeah.
It already happened.
In Orlando.
It's already happened, and you can find it on YouTube. They've already wrestled. They're like, "No, they didn't." Oh, yes, they did. Just look it up. Mm-hmm. To me, tag team wrestling, which that's one of the reasons I did an episode of the Countdown favorite tag team wrestlers, because to me, Vince McMahon has destroyed tag team wrestling because there's just nothing except for the Usos. Thank goodness the Usos are at least around. Mm-hmm. The Young Bucks, that's one of the great things that AEW has done. What they've done with tag team wrestling, because I grew up around when there was tag teams, real ones, like, the Hart Foundation, the British Bulldogs, Killer Bees. I remember watching actual tag teams, not just two guys that get thrown together, which I can't stand it. So that night, just the whole night at All Out was just amazing, except for QT Marshall and Paul White. But that was terrible.
Oh man, QT's a good guy, man.
I'm not ripping him as a person. Hey, I was there. Trust me. As soon as it became obvious that was the next match, hundreds of people got up and left. They just left. They don't show that on the pay-per-view, but trust me, hundreds of people got up. How far in the
card was that? It was like the third match, wasn't it?
No, it was the second to last match.
It was the second to last match?
Second to last. It was the spot that I'm trying to think of a nicer way to put this. When you have a high emotional energy match, which for that night, it was Darby and CM Punk.
Yeah.
The crowd.
That's what I thought everybody was waiting on.
That was the third to last match. Mm-hmm. And everyone's energy, everyone has extinguished all their energy. You're drained. You have nothing left. And when that happens, the next match is not going to get a reaction. Mm-hmm. In the old school days, that's where the Diva matches used to be.
That's what I was about to say. That's where the Divas matches used to be.
That's where the Divas matches were. And so I already knew that's where they're going to put QT Marshall and Paul White. It is obviously the worst match on the card. So that's where it'll be. And that's where it was. It was 3 minutes and everybody left. I went and bought a t-shirt. I mean, it was the match. And I did eventually watch the match because I had to review it for the other show I do. because it was on YouTube, but it was like 3 minutes. It was horrible. It was terrible. It was just bad. And I'm not ripping them as people because I've met Paul White. He's a cool guy, but no, it was just a bad idea. But that's what you do with that spot. You put the worst match you have on the card, so the crowd can kind of take a nap or whatever to get their energy back.
I mean, out of all the matches, like obviously mine wasn't the greatest with Young Bucks, but the Punk and Darby I thought could have been a little bit better, but they did what they needed to do. Like they drew the crowd what they needed to do. Honestly, my honest opinion, and I knew it from the beginning. I was like, I know daggone well Punk is not losing this match. Like that was my thing. I was like, what kind of Phil Brooks we gonna get? Are we gonna get the selfish Phil Brooks, or are we gonna get the guy that's like, we're gonna let this guy shine. We're gonna let him get his stuff in, and we're gonna present him out to be that next guy. And I mean, Darby ain't a big guy. Darby is probably like 150 pounds. Like Darby is a really small dude.
I would have said about maybe 70 or 80 just to be generous.
He ain't.
Just to be generous.
No, he ain't.
He probably isn't, but I'm being generous.
He's probably a lot smaller. That's the sad part.
He might be, but I'm going to still be generous. I'm still going to be generous. I like Darby.
The coffin drop's not as painful as everybody expects.
Oh, no, it's not. It's not. It looks cool, but
it looks amazing. I close my eyes all the time. I'm like, I don't know how he does. Like that one spot he did with Punk, where Punk literally threw him through the turnbuckle part. I was like, I wouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. I could not. No. Like, that's my thing about Darby. I just feel like Darby's going to be more accident prone and the longevity standpoint. I feel like he's going to do so much. He's going to get burned out. He's either going to get burned out or he's going to get hurt. And that's my biggest thing about Darby on those. But that's his gimmick. I mean, he's doing really well. I'm glad that they're actually doing something with him. I was curious when they first booked him because he used to wrestle for Southern Honor Wrestling, and Darby was actually homeless. Like Darby literally was not well financial or anything. And
I heard about that. Yeah.
So it's just really good to see how well he's grown up now. Like, I mean, he's one of the platforms of AEW now. Like one of the main guys, I think. I don't know why they paired him with Sting. I love that Sting was there, but my thing is, Sting, if you're going to be a manager, be the manager. Don't get back in the ring. Like, I don't see it. I don't see it.
Sting,
like, honestly, my thing is, we're sitting here patronizing WWE for bringing legends back and putting them back in the ring, or part-timers all back in the ring. Technically, they're doing the kind of the same thing. You're going there to get those ratings. Like, when AEW first started, I went to the Full Gear pay-per-view, and it was in Jacksonville, the one in Daly's. And I wasn't really that impressed with most of them. Like, the only matches you really followed were the Cody Rhodes. Like, that was a really good match. The Cody Rhodes and his brother taking on the Young Bucks. Like, that was my first time
that was awesome.
Seeing Cody and Dustin, watching them take on the Young Bucks. I thought that was a very good match. That's where I got my respect with them on there. I was like, okay, they can hang with them. Okay. But then when I saw that cage match, I was like, that's so much. You're doing too much with it. Like, they were doing that stuff in Ring of Honor a little bit too. I'm just like, let it pause out. Like, wait your turn. Do what you need to do. Space that spot out, whatever. I just don't believe in, okay, super kick, super kick, super kick. Oh, takedown, super kick, super kick, super kick. Like, I just don't believe in stuff like that. That's like a video game. Like, you just got your, like, 12 finishers, and that's what you're going to do through the whole match. Like, it's just, it drives me nuts.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. When I was listening to your show, that review, you hadn't said anything yet, but I was listening to how you were talking, and I was sitting here, I'm going, this guy's had to have been in the ring. The way he's talking, and then it got to that match, and the way you were reviewing it, I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's been in the ring. This guy's been in the ring.
You see why I got frustrated, because, like, I'm old school. Like, if you're gonna do a super kick, that's a super kick. Like, how many matches do you see Shawn Michaels do more than 3 super kicks? It's very rare, very rare.
It's
And I mean,
rare.
Sean hits you.
Oh yeah,
Sean
he nails
doesn't
you.
miss. He hits you right in your throat.
My
If you're
favorite
lucky,
super
that's
kick
a
is
good
from
one.
Shawn. Is what Shawn did to Shelton Benjamin when he dove off the rope
Yep.
on Raw. That's the greatest super kick I've ever seen in my life.
Yep.
And I think it was Jerry Lawler that said, no, it was Ross who said, "Oh my God in heaven."
Yep.
That
That's
was
the and that's the
thunderous.
one that Shelton Benjamin's gonna always be remembered for is the Shawn Michaels super
And
kick.
he's
Like
probably
literally that
proud
is.
of it. And I
Oh,
bet he's
absolutely.
proud
I
of
would
it.
take that as a trophy. I'd take that as like a championship belt. Like literally, like you sold the best super kick from literally probably the greatest in-ring performer on the planet. Like Shawn Michaels, he's one of those guys. Like he's that. I mean, when I watched wrestling and I would watch tapes and stuff, I'm just like, man, just seeing how Shawn moved.
Yeah.
I hated what I knew how bad he was on the backstory and stuff.
Oh yeah,
and
he was a prick.
I knew he was a yeah.
He was an egomaniacal prick.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's just like, all right, why would people let him do what he's doing? And then you see what he does in the ring. I'm like,
what he does in the ring.
I let him be that prick too. Then if that's the case, like, there you see the reason. Hey, if I get to be like shit, hey, I'm gonna give you the best match you can possibly think of, buddy.
Well, hey, I got to see what I consider really his retirement match. That was his retirement match. I got to see his real retirement match. So not that crap he did at Crown Jewel or whatever that was when he teamed up with Triple H to face the brothers.
We're not gonna talk about that one. We're not gonna talk about that one.
I have avoided watching that thing.
Bad. I felt
can't
so bad for all those guys, and Triple H got hurt on it too, and that was another downfall because Triple H was supposed to be in that ring a lot more. And
yeah,
that's why Shawn looked so lost.
He got hurt like 5 minutes in or less than that. He got hurt immediately within that match.
He tore his pec.
I saw the bruising.
Tore it right off. That don't look bad.
I have never watched that match because I just don't. I love Taker. I just don't want to see it. I've heard everything about it, just like I've heard everything about the Goldberg thing. I've never watched it, and I never will. I just can't. I love Taker way too much, and I despise Goldberg.
It wasn't Taker's fault in that match. But
no,
the bad
it's
thing
both
about Goldberg was sitting there doing, his pre-ritual. He'll sit there and headbutt a wall.
Headbutt a wall.
So when he walked out to the ring, he was already gusting blood.
He's an idiot.
Before the match. Like,
he's done that before. In WCW, he punched a glass window out of a limo and he cut his hand all up. I'm like, dude, seriously? Not the sharpest tool in the shed. I'm not saying he's not a nice guy. I know people who've met him. They said he was a very cool guy. I just sometimes question his intelligence.
Not back then.
Then he was a jerk. Then he was an absolute prick.
I've heard stories about him back then now.
I've met a few wrestlers that unfortunately, like I rest in peace. I met Hawk and
yeah,
that's my favorite tag team. And yikes. I met Scott Steiner. Ugh. Kevin Nash. Ugh. So I've met my share of bad ones, but thankfully there's not too many of them. A lot more nicer ones like RVD. He was cool. Jeff Hardy, cool. Lita, cool. A lot more nicer people than me. Randy Savage, cool. A lot more nicer ones than mean ones.
Okay, so we talked a good amount about AEW. What are some of the guys in WWE that you're impressed with?
Oh, well, I want to love Roman. I want to because I've been waiting.
Love him?
I've been waiting for him to be heel for so long. I was like, just do it. You need to restart the man's career. You're killing his career by making him stay a face when clearly the crowd just don't want to be behind it. Just turn him heel. he will be so successful. Just do it.
Mhm.
And there's moments that I think Roman is just absolutely genius out there with the stuff he does. Like when he went and put the mask on. Now he has to, but also story wise, I just thought it was funny.
Mhm.
I just thought it was
Nobody
genius.
does it. Nobody
I mean,
does
it
it.
was.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just genius what he's able to do out there. The problem I have with Roman, and I understand why they do it, it's a heel thing. I just hate when the Usos are just constantly involved. It just every time. It's every
Roman's
single
the chicken
time.
shit heel.
I
Roman
know,
is that powerhouse chicken shit heel.
I know, and that's what he shouldn't be. He doesn't need to be a chicken shit heel. He needs to be a powerhouse heel. But they make him this. I just hate that they're doing that with him. So I would love for them to clear up Roman a little bit
They
more.
do that for your boy Kenny now too. Now.
Yeah, I know. But it
I was
works for
waiting for
Kenny's.
that one.
It works for Kenny's character, though. That works for his character. That's what he is. So it works. That's not what Roman is. And so I kind of have a problem with it with Roman. I love Cesaro, and it has been a crime what they have done to that man. I have loved
His
Cesaro.
His mic work. That's what's been really a downgrade for him.
I wish that wasn't such a big deal. Because let's be
Have
honest,
all of them, man. You gotta have them all.
Roman's was not that good at the beginning. In fact, most of it was bad. He got better finally, but he was never good at the mic. But he
Cena lit his ass.
Oh yeah, Cena destroyed him. And I hate Cena, but he absolutely lit him up. So Roman, he got his mic work better. But Cesaro, I love Seth Rollins. I think Seth is genius. I know people get annoyed by that, but damn it, he's so entertaining.
He gives me that heel vibe of CM Punk, like the back then CM Punk vibes that I got. I totally believe they never need to turn Seth face again. Don't ever do it again.
He was a terrible face. He was terrible.
I hated all about it. I was just like, man, he is not a face. Like, literally keep him as a heel. Put him in the Shield, do like that mutual thing, and then boom, he sits there and goes back to his own way. The drip god, whatever he's got going on right now, he goes so in tune with it. But what I say is, like, he's very passionate of the character that he does. Like, he really loves that character that he's doing. Like, those suits are pretty out there. I'm not even gonna lie. I can't stand his damn laugh. That laugh is so
the
damn
laugh's
annoying.
bad. The laugh's bad.
That laugh is like an old man laughing. I'm just bro, you're like 30.
It is. I
was
love
like, how Becky lays near that.
Becky, yeah. I love Drew McIntyre. I love Charlotte Flair. I think Charlotte's just one of the best ever to do it, period. And I personally can't wait for Bayley to come back. I miss Bayley. I miss Bayley. I have never thought I would ever get a woman's title belt. I just never thought I did. I'm not trying to be sexist, because I'm totally not. I just never thought there'd be a reason to. I have a woman's title. Not only do I have a woman's title, it's the SmackDown title, and I bought plates. Bayley's.
Okay.
I
remember when Bayley first turned heel, I was just like, I don't know how this is gonna work. And then when it did, I was like, okay, I can see Bayley as a heel now. I could totally see it. Like, I saw her as like a Cena for the longest, like a Hogan character, like the little goofy girl with the Gumby characters all flying up. I'm just like, this is not gonna last that long. Like, it was great. It was great at first. Kids loved it and all that, but it's just like, it's time to turn it up a notch. Time to turn that up.
I liked it.
And then when she started cutting her hair, and the fans were starting to worry on it, and then she even extended it longer just to build that up. That's the part I loved about that whole transformation. Fans were sitting there nitpicking about her haircut, everything, and she's just like, I just wanted a haircut. And then, boom, the next week, bam, you didn't expect it because she extended it out. Art of storytelling.
Yep.
That's what I wish this would be so much more of. No more of this backstage. Oh my gosh, Edge is predetermined to win the Royal Rumble. Like all that stuff. I just want people to start watching the matches again. That's why the Attitude Era was so damn good. You didn't get backstories of what was going on with wrestling.
With the thing with Bayley is two things with Bayley. She really sold it. I've always been Bayley fan, but a lot of people started to finally see it when she got the SmackDown Women's title and she was cutting that promo when she was getting interviewed in the ring. Life sucks, and then you die. When she said that, that's everybody was like, "Oh, you're going there." And that sold it for a lot of people. They're like, "Okay, this might work." And personally, there was a time she was the best heel out there. Period.
Last year.
Just no doubt she was the best heel. And what made it even better, and I love MJF, and he is a great heel. But the problem is, I think Bayley's a better wrestler than what they've done with MJF. Now, MJF at All Out, that was the best match he's had, was that. Because before, it was
Jericho, though. I mean, come on, man. You can't have a bad mouth with Jericho. You really can't.
I can. Before that match, I was not liking what Jericho's product was anymore. But he showed up that night. And so Jericho had some bad matches before that. But that night, that was the best I'd seen Jericho in a while. But just look at this past WrestleMania, the Reinomania, whatever. Mm-hmm. They were chanting Bayley. I mean, they love that woman. And she wasn't even wrestling. And they were chanting her more than Hogan. Host. Chanting her way more than Hogan. Hogan was getting booed.
Yeah. All that backstory of wrestling just want to bite you in the ass and later on the road. Lord have mercy. That dark side of the ring is going to ruin some careers.
Oh, it already has. Ric Flair.
Oh man.
Ric Flair's been edited.
I've heard stories and stuff, and like some of the stuff is really. I'm not even gonna lie. Shit does happen on the road, and I mean, like I tell people, when you first start wrestling, you need a tough skin. Like you gotta literally just protect yourself in more ways. Like I tell people all the time, like you gotta look out for yourself. Like look out. Yeah, you got a locker room camaraderie, whatever. But when you're in the indies, you're free. You're like a free agent. You just go to all these companies. You go to all these brands, every single one of them. And you're basically out there for yourself. Like you can be that locker room camaraderie, but you're there for yourself. And that was one thing I had to learn. It took me a while to learn just by myself. Just like, okay, I could be that guy nice in the locker room, but also stand my ground. Like, hey.
Let me ask you a question. I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Who is to you your just favorite all-time wrestler? Whether it's just what they do in the ring, their ability, just whatever, just your favorite of all time.
Rock.
Okay. All right, that's not a bad one.
Brock has literally been my. I literally the first night I kept my eyes on The Rock. Everybody was pro Stone Cold. At school, everybody was all Stone Cold. So my mom got me to watch wrestling. Like my mom watched all the WWF. So the first night I got my glimpse of The Rock was he laid the people's elbow on The Undertaker and the banner dropped. And when his banner dropped, and I was just like blown away. I was like, okay, like banner just dropped. You just laid the smackdown on this dead man. Like I used to believe all of this shit. When I was younger, I used to believe Taker was from the dead, everything. Like I was terrified of Taker. I was terrified. When he rolled his eyes in the back of the head, I was out the door. Like I wasn't trying to watch that. Like if you talk about scary movies, Taker needed to be in one of the scary movies. Back in the day, the way he looked more scary than most of the scary movie characters. Especially when he was in the Ministry of Darkness.
He was in a scary. He was in a TV show. He was in the Poltergeist TV show. I think it was. Yeah, it was Poltergeist TV show he was in.
Okay.
But I was always a Taker guy. He never scared me. I loved him from the moment he debuted at the Survivor Series. I was
terrified of him. I
loved him.
Oh my gosh. But man, just love The Rock, just how he was, character-wise, how much he adapted. He could be the baby face that week, the heel the next week, and it did not change his gimmick. It didn't make his character look weak. That's the same thing with Stone Cold. Like Stone Cold, in reality, he was a mutual person. He wasn't just a bull-on baby face and a bull-on heel. Like he was literally, I don't give a fuck. I'm going down to the ring. Like that type of attitude. And that's one thing I loved about The Rock. But The Rock, he had more emotions. He had more ways of selling, and he was
as
more
he says,
popular.
charisma.
That charisma was way better than Stone Cold. That's why, in my opinion, I thought he was better than Stone Cold in ways, because that charisma, that man selling out Hollywood now. Like Stone Cold went to movies. That didn't go well for Stone Cold.
No, it didn't. Well, they both have, I think, the same level of charisma. It's just that they
have to put
are
both
in
of them
different
at the same.
directions. They just go off in different directions with that charisma. I mean, I've heard a lot of loud pops. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
The loudest pops I've ever heard, and I can name the people they were for. They were for recently CM Punk, The Rock, Austin, and LO and Legion of Doom. Those are the loudest pops I have ever heard. It was deafening type of pops. So, and I
gotta throw the Hardy Boys in there. That WrestleMania pop.
The WrestleMania, that was a
outrageous.
one-time pop though. That was but
that was
I wasn't
outrageous.
there though. These are pops I actually heard with my own ears to a point where I had to almost cover because it was so loud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, those are earth-shattering pumps. But yeah, The Rock's that's a good one. Mine is old Hot Rod.
Hot Rod? Boy,
I got
Hot
to
Rod.
meet him.
If he would literally, bro, if you know some stories about Hot Rod could have been a champion at least 3 to 4 times.
Oh, that's
if he would have literally just followed with the group and like realized, hey, I'm gonna have to put this guy over on these television shows, and then on pay-per-view, boom, I'm taking the title from him. If he would just cooperated, Piper would have been at least 4 times as a WWE champion.
True, but then he wouldn't be Piper. It's kind of who he is, and that's kind of what made me love Piper. And it wasn't easy being a Piper fan because I was a little kid, and in the WWF, nobody liked Piper. Mm-hmm. He was the most hated human being. It's hard for wrestling fans to think of this now because we live now in an era where everybody knows what wrestling is now. Everybody, exactly. There's the idea that people think it's real to people now is laughable, but back then you thought it was real. And Piper was legitimately the most hated human being walking the planet Earth. There's just no debating it. He was hated. And literally, I was the only person cheering that man on a rig. And he was going up against Hogan. And I'm cheering that.
I was about to say, he really is the one guy that made WrestleMania what it was.
A lot of people made it. I hate that Hogan says that he did it. Just him. It's like, it wasn't just you, because nobody's going to go to WrestleMania to just watch you stand in a ring. They're there to watch you beat the crap out of Roddy Piper.
Exactly.
So it's not just you. So, and I got to meet Roddy Piper at that WrestleMania with Taker and Shawn. I went to WrestleMania Access. I went to Access and I got to meet Piper, took pictures. He signed my book, and I got to, as soon as I got up to the table, I was scared to death because he's my favorite of all time. Mm-hmm. And he signed my book, and I just said, Mr. Piper, I just want to thank you. I've been watching you all my life, and you've brought so much joy. I mean, you just brought me so much joy. He's like, I probably have ruined your life more times. I'm like, no, sir, you've really brought some joy to my life. My life is better because I got to watch you. And he said, oh, that's very kind. God bless you. And
he's like, oh, one person, the nation.
But it was just such an honor to meet that man. It was such an honor to meet that man. At the same time I was meeting him, my cousin was meeting his favorite wrestler, Dusty Rhodes. Okay. And those two wrestlers passed away within days of each other. Mm-hmm. It was just really odd, but I'm so glad I got to meet that man. Piper, to me, still the greatest heel there's ever been. I love that guy. Such a great heel.
Since you
The
like to
Heat,
do the countdown for your podcast,
Great
top five
Heels.
greatest heels. Top five. Go.
Well, it would have to be 10. It has to
Okay,
be
we'll do
10.
10. We'll do 10.
Is that the one you want to do? Greatest Heels?
Yeah, we'll do greatest heels.
Well, I just kind of said my number one.
I know you're number one. Go ahead. I want to know the rest of them.
I just said it. It's Piper. So it's just a matter of going through all of them. But yeah, we can do that one. Greatest Heels.
Okay.
No problem. No problem at all. I'll start working on that probably tonight. That's kind of how I work. No
So how long
rush.
does it
Don't
usually
worry.
take you for researching wise before you do episodes?
Here the thing is, I have literally on my little countdown laptop over here, I have probably 50 episodes as far as lists that I've started, and I probably have another 50 that are just ideas that I haven't even done anything with. So
Okay.
there's at least 50 episodes that I just started with lists and I haven't even finished yet.
Mm-hmm.
So every day I at least will work on one list, at least one. And
Okay.
usually I end up working on 5. I say one and then all of a sudden it's like, dang, I'm still doing this. So,
Yeah.
but I gotta do it. It's every time I look at my laptop, that's just the first thing I think of is my countdown list. So I could end up spending a whole day doing those lists if I wanted to. That's what I do during work. I'm working on my lists.
All right, Jericho.
I work from home, so I can do it.
Hey, that's love. That's awesome. That's pretty cool. Is like how you basically able to do the countdowns and stuff. So how many episodes do you do a week?
It's not. I don't have it on a schedule where I'm doing it every week. I try to absolute least to make sure there's at least 2 or 3 I do a month, because it can take a while to put some of these lists together. It seems like it would be easy, but it actually isn't. When you get down to 10, just getting down to 10 is tough enough. Then you start ordering things, and that's when it can get really messed up. There have been too many times that I've been done and I'm recording and I'm looking at my list and I switch something. I've done that several times. And I always, when I do it, I always say to anybody listening, I say it on the show, I just switched this. So I just switched my list because it just lets people know to me that, hey, I'm still thinking about these lists. And at the time, I think
and effort in it.
I'm putting time and effort. And even now, the past episodes, I look at some of those lists and I'm like, damn, I wish I could change that. I mean, the first episode, I only had 9. It was the worst DC movies, and I only had 9 because I couldn't come up with a 10th. Now I could totally do that and have a 10th, and it's Wonder Woman 84. But
oh god!
But at the time,
that was the longest opening of a movie I've ever seen in my life, and it had no meaning at all. Like I was just like, man, Gal Gadot needed to be in a bikini or something just to intrigue somebody. Like honestly, that was just terrible.
And that was the best part of the movie. I think the beginning part was the best part. It was the best part, and it was the last time you'd see her in the Wonder Woman outfit for like 40 minutes. Straight up, like 40 minutes. You wouldn't see her in that, and you'd had that horrible back screen where she's running. And I'm like, oh yeah, God. How did you screw this up? The first movie was genius, and you ruined it.
It gave hope. It gave hope to DC films because they were failing really bad for a minute. I mean, I'm a big Batman fan, so it's just like,
oh yeah, you can't see it, but there's a Batman flag up there for the new Batman movie.
Yeah. So you excited about that one? You think Robert Pattinson's going to be the one?
I didn't say that.
I got a lot of mixed reviews on Robert Pattinson.
I'm excited for the story. I think the story's good. I love the look. The look is awesome. So I think they're going the right direction. The only things I don't like, I hate the Batmobile, but I can ignore that because there's been plenty of Batmobiles I didn't like. I hate the Batsuit. I can ignore that. There's been some Batsuits I didn't like. And Robert Pattinson. but
That's the big one.
That's the big one. I'm gonna give him a chance. I came up. I remember how people freaked out when Keaton got it, and I fell in line with that. And then I watched it, and I was like, Keaton did a good job. His Bruce Wayne sucked, but his Batman was good. And so after that, I'm like, okay, I'm no longer gonna fall into this trap. I will give them a chance, and I will watch the movie and judge it based off that. So I'm giving him a chance. I gave Ben Affleck a chance when people were cursing at him, and I even have videotape evidence of myself saying it. I said I think he'll be a very good Batman.
Yeah, right now, looks the part. He looks
it. To me, he's my favorite live action Batman. He's my favorite.
Exactly.
One.
People think I'm crazy when I say that. Like, Ben Affleck was the best Batman if you think about it. Just the cartoon Batman we looked at, jacked, straight muscle, like looked a rich, good look, like very healthy look. No, I'm not dissing Christian Bale at all. He did a great job. Too. I just hated that dark voice that he had.
The voice was horrible. Like, thank you.
I'm like, why? Why did you do that? Like, it was no meaning for it. Like, you could already tell it wasn't you. But when you're doing that voice, I'm like, what's the meaning for it? Like, why?
With Christian, with Christian, the voice got worse with every movie.
Exactly. I'm just like, bro, you gotta stop. I was just like, man, I wish somebody would hit his voice box and just cut that out. Like,
they should. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Thank you.
Man, that made me so mad.
I say that all the time. Here's the thing. Batman should be menacing. Mm-hmm. And if you met the Ben Affleck Batman in an alley, you're going to be scared. You're going to be scared out of your mind. Would I be scared if I met the if it's the George Clooney Batman? I'm going to laugh. I'm just going to laugh. Kilmer? No, I'm still going to laugh. Keaton, that one might scare me a little bit. Keaton's would scare me, but Ben Affleck's, you're not going to mess with that dude. You just would not mess with that dude. So that's the best compliment you can give. Pattinson's Batman, he looks like a cosplay. So I'm still going to give him a shot.
I gave up hopes on him when Twilight, man. That junk was so stupid.
Trust me, I've been getting all the jokes. Everybody who knows me knows
I'm a Batman. I was like, man, we're getting a vampire as Batman. What the hell is going to this world? And then he's telling us that Batman don't need to work out. I'm like, man, are you for real?
Yeah, he does.
I'm like, if you're built as a superhero, you need to be the best physique out there. Like, in my honest opinion. Like, I'm a body guy. Like, literally, like, if I'm going to be a superhero, I'm going to make myself look like a damn superhero. I'm not going to sit here and give you a half-ass look. Like, Robert Pattinson didn't even look that great when he was in freaking Twilight. How the hell we expect him to look like Batman? You go from Ben Affleck, good Jack, good. He had the full look, talk, everything. And then you go to Robert Pattinson. Like, why? A gothic Batman. Like, what the heck?
I'm gonna be there. Obviously, the earliest, the first day, I will watch that movie. I am too big of a Batman fan not to. I have a Batman corner in my apartment dedicated to Batman. There's so much Batman stuff over there. It's ridiculous. Action figures that go back all the way to Tim Burton's Batman.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There's all kinds of stuff over there. DVDs, VHSs, posters, cars, Pez dispensers, flags, you name it, it's over there. A birthday cake ornament that I saved.
Oh man, I could save those.
I'm a nut when it comes to Batman. He's my guy. So if it's Batman, I'm gonna watch it. So I can't avoid it. I'm gonna watch it, and I'll watch it with open mind and heart. But I am
let's finish this on this. Let's finish this on this. What did you think of Justice League? The Justice League movie.
Which one?
Let's go with the first one because I actually thought it was a good brought up But man, you were literally tapping it right after the Avengers come out with Infinity War. Like there was no way you were beating those ratings. There was no way at all. Like I tell people DC has done better as a TV show wise for WB than Marvel for TV shows, but when it comes to movies, Marvel has been knocking them flat out the door.
Few things on that. As far as the TV show, I think the best comic book TV show before they messed it up was Daredevil.
Oh
The
yeah.
first 2 seasons of Daredevil, absolutely genius. Third season was
I didn't know what the
terrible.
fuck was going on.
It was
I didn't know what was
terrible.
going on.
It was just terrible. Punisher is right there with Daredevil. Both seasons, perfect. They ended it too soon. Thankfully, supposedly it's supposed to come back. So
Mhm.
I would actually give the edge a little bit more to Marvel on the TV end. DC Arrow was good at the beginning, but they ruined it. They just ruined that show. I loved Arrow, but they destroyed it at the end.
I was a
As
fan
far
of
as
Flash.
I hate
I like
it.
the Flash show.
I
You,
hate
you
it.
didn't like it at all?
I hate it.
I got
I
tired
pref-
after the 8th season where Barry keeps fucking up the timeline. I was just like, all right,
I
I'm done with
stopped
this. I'm
watching
done with
it.
this.
I'm trying to think. I think the last episode of that Flash I watched before I dumped off was when he's facing his clone. Not his clone, but you know what I mean? I can't think of the character's name, but he's basically fighting himself, a clone of himself.
Oh, yeah.
It was dumb. I hated it. So I finished
Mhm.
that season and I was like, that's it. I'm done. And I've never gone back. As far as Justice League, I like the first Justice League. I actually like it.
Mhm.
But I think the Zack Snyder Justice League is a million times better.
Yeah.
I didn't like what they did to Batman in the original Justice League. They made him comic relief. And Batman should not be comic relief. That's the Flash. That's what the
Mhm.
Flash is for. And he was doing it just fine. So we didn't need another comedian. I didn't like what they did with Bats in that movie. They fixed it with Zack Snyder's. As far as the Avengers, I am in the minority. I actually hate the Avengers.
Really?
I don't. I watched the first one and I hated it. And unfortunately, when it comes to movies like that, if I don't like the first one, I don't go back.
You're not watching it anymore? Okay.
I don't go back. So I have never watched any of the other Avengers movies that came after it. It's
Okay.
I know what happens. I know what happens in each of them, so I know what
You'll
happens.
get every
I know,
spoiler now.
I know what happened. I know who
Everybody knows
died.
now.
Yeah, I know who died. I know what happened. It's just I just didn't care. Justice
Mhm.
League, the Zack Snyder one, which I ordered and I have it on Blu-ray, thank goodness. Is just Zack Snyder's Justice League. That just is amazing. If I was to redo some of my comic book lists, that might be number one. It is so good. It's right there with Joker, which to me is the best DC has put out there is Joker. That movie was just amazing. It has me nervous for Joker
crazy.
2. It
was
was
so
amazing.
crazy.
It was perfect. He nailed
I was
it.
just sitting there, I was just like, I was so curious how they were gonna make him that sadistic character at the very end. And the way they did, I was just like, okay. I didn't expect that. Okay.
It's a study. It's a study in seeing a guy just slowly
just basically losing his damn mind. Like, all right, you see,
you can
it.
identify
Like, that whole story. Yeah, you
We
can
can
relate to
identify.
it in ways too. It's like,
would we react any differently if that's what happened? I mean, we would probably all react somewhat similarly to how he acted. So that was the genius of that movie. It made you feel for a character that you would normally despise.
right.
That's the credit of the writing. And that's why it won an Oscar. And he deserved it.
Yep.
He deserved it.
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix did a really good job with that one.
Oh,
I actually would put him at one of the top Jokers. I would.
Oh, he's the best one. He's
the best
number one
one
to me. He's number one.
Really? Heath Ledger killed himself to be this
Heath,
guy.
Heath did a great job, but the problem with Joaquin, Heath was already Joker. There's no building arc to get you there. He's already Joker. Joaquin had to get us there. And Heath would have gotten us there if the role had asked for it. But he didn't have to. He was already Joker. Joaquin had to get us to that point. And for me, that puts him over Heath. He had to get us there.
Yeah. Yeah, he sold it because I remember when they were first announcing, I was just like, you got a very hard one to beat, buddy. That's like when my wife and them are big Disney fans when Will Smith was gonna play as Genie replacing Robin Williams. I'm just like, you can't top those now. Like honestly,
I didn't even watch that. I saw the trailer and I was like, nope, not going.
I was like, Will Smith playing as Genie? I don't know. Robin Williams killed that. Like you ain't getting in that category.
Once I saw him blue, I was like, nope, that's it. I can't do it. I can't watch you. You're blue. You're done. Your career is over. Your career is done. Man. You're blue. That was
you
terrible.
Smurfed yourself. You smurfed.
Jeez, smurfed himself. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, he did. He smurfed himself. I can't believe I didn't think of that.
He smurfed himself. That could be a great episode.
Will Smurf Smith.
There you go. All right, MJ. I hate to finish this out, man. Is there anything else you want to finish on? Social media accounts, people to follow your podcast. I had a good time chatting with you about wrestling. I love talking about wrestling, and it's just really cool how we went and talked about Batman and stuff like that. It just tells you like we got some good minds in this, and I love just that. I love the fact that hey, there's some stuff we agree on, and there's obviously some stuff that we don't agree on. And those are the best recordings, I think.
That's the beauty of the
that's
podcast.
My thing. Exactly.
It'd be boring if we all agreed on everything.
It'd been like
there's no discussion.
I would sat there and try to private message and be like, "Hey, man, tell me I suck at that option. Just say it. Just fix it up. Let's heat this thing up. Let's go."
It makes for a better podcast. Gotta disagree. Gotta have some disagreements. And we definitely disagree on a few things, but that's perfect. That's perfect.
Okay.
But as far as the countdown, you can listen to the countdown you can listen to me through Podbean. Just search the Countdown Podcast. Through there you can go to the countdown2020.podbean.com, and that's the archive. You can listen to everything. I'm on iHeartRadio. Just search the Countdown Podcast. Amazon Audible, I'm on there. Countdown Podcast, Spotify. You can go to my Instagram page. Just search the Countdown 2020. I'm on Twitter. Just search at the Countdown PO1. Facebook at the Countdown 2020 Podcast 1. Trying to remember all this.
Oh yeah, bro. I literally just like Spotify, iHeartRadio, and I'm like, wherever else you get them. Like, I can't even name them all.
And email countdown2020@gmail.com. And I'm also on YouTube. Just search the Countdown Podcast with MJ Book. And if you have any ideas, please send them on over. I love taking ideas from viewers and listeners. Those are always the best. I had one of the ideas I had, somebody wanted me to count down the movies of the 80s. The best movies of the 80s, but he made me start with 1989 because that's when Batman came out. So, see, my listeners know I'm a Batman fan, so they wanted to see where I'd put Batman, and of course, it was number one, no doubt. So that guy came with one episode, and he gave me 10 because I went through the entire 80s.
Ooh, that's a lot of researching right there. Ooh.
I went through and I'm gonna do it again with the 90s.
Okay.
I'm working on it.
I'm looking forward to that one, man. But yeah, MJ, I appreciate you doing this, man. This was absolutely a blast. You're more than welcome to come back on anytime you want. And I actually would be really interested to get on one of those list podcasts and we could chat one up on those.
Hey, careful, because I will take you up on that. I am at your beck and call. Anytime you want me on, just give me a buzz. I will do it.
So how about this? We'll do the next AEW pay-per-view. we'll do our live reaction literally right after or something like that.
Probably can't be live because the third generation wrestling show I do, that's what we do right after. But definitely after the show, probably won't be right after. Maybe like
we'll
a day
like
or so
2 or
after.
3 days.
We'll definitely
so.
do
Yeah.
it. Anytime you want me on, bro, just give me you. You can get in touch with me on my Facebook. I will be there.
I got you. All right, MJ. I appreciate you doing this, and I hope you have a good rest of your night, man.
Same to you. Thanks for having me on, and keep listening to this show.